ago, I tried to do an Instagram live, and it was quite an experience. There were actually 2 of my followers who joined, and it was actually an unannounced Instagram live, and it was I had a good time talking to my friends, and actually I only tried it just for the sake of experience and as a trial for a future Instagram live, for a future live painting demo that I'll be doing for a future project for my online class in painting and in drawing. So right now I'm trying to record my painting process so that I could share it to you in one of my video contents at Elevation TV PH in my show Artsy Escuela. So I hope I could be able to capture, through my phone the process, and so that I would be able to have some materials wherein I could teach my future students and to share just for the sake of entertainment, to share something that could inspire art enthusiasts and aspiring artists out there on my social media who are connected to me through social media. Tara, pinta na! Let's paint! So this is silver gray. I mixed Prussian blue, burnt sienna, titanium white, and a little cadmium yellow light. Yeah, I mix it all to produce the different shades of gray to silver gray. Yeah, I'm using this shade to create the details of the sea foam of my sea waves. I think you are aware, I presume you are aware that the seawater, any part of a water, when it gets hit by a light, there's like this silver, glittery silver color that appears. So that's the illusion that I'm trying to create here. So, assuming that the time of the day that this painting was that the photo reference was taken, it was like in the afternoon. Actually, I took the reference for this painting in Costa del Fuego in Bolinao, Patar, Pangasinan, during my vacation with my family. So I look at my camera every now and then because I'm using an app that has a limited time recording. Recording time. So I'm using acrylic paint because it dries easily. But I also love, as I said, I'm using acrylic paint as my medium. I usually use acrylic because it easily dries up, but I also use oil paint. I love oil paint, oil medium. So yeah, but the thing is, my show will be my group show will be coming soon with my friends, and also acrylic medium is far more convenient for me at the moment. Yeah, because I have a small space in my studio, so it's better for me if my artwork, my paintings would dry up quicker, because when it's an oil paint, it would be so inconvenient for me. I wouldn't know where to store them or where to place them in my studio, because my studio actually is just inside my room, so it's a makeshift studio. Yeah. When I get rich, I'm going to create a separate room for my studio. So yeah, so for me right now, acrylic medium for my paintings is more convenient. That I wouldn't have to worry doing my paintings drying time. I want to create vivid details of my painting, because I want to create an illusion wherein the viewer would experience looking at the subject matter as if they are looking at it in person. But at the same time, I want to retain the painterly feature of it. So you would still see my brush strokes, and it's not really very fine. But yeah, that's how I paint. So translucency is one of my techniques in painting. So when you get to see my painting in the actual, you would actually see the layers of paints put up together. One layer on top of the other. And I do it section to section. So I divide the plane into quadrants, and then in each quadrant I divide it into section, so that I don't want to work like a scattered brain artist. So there's still a system, because when you look at it with the many details, it looks overwhelming. But if you have that system of dividing the quadrants of your canvas or any ground, it would be, easier to work on it block per block, quadrant per quadrant, so that it would save the artist or anyone who paints. It would save them time. It would save us time and the effort, and we won't get overwhelmed with the details. And it takes patience. In the second part of this episode, I will going to show you how I did it from setting up the canvas to blocking of the colors. So yeah, please bear with me. I was not able to document the actual process of this one. It's actually the ground is wood. It's a plank of wood that I got from our garage, and it's a good wood, so I turned it into a ground for my painting. I decided not to put a canvas on it because the grain of the wood is actually very interesting, and the idea of it is it's like a plank being tossed in the sea, tossed in the sea waves. So yeah, that's the idea. So that's the philosophical side of it. Well, if you would ask me, am I focused on the philosophical side or the spiritual side of the painting? Spiritual, quote unquote, small spiritual, small s. Yes and no, but I always consider the philosophical significance of my artworks. But I am more concerned, or I am more focused on the formal elements of art, like the color, the line, something like that. Not much of the philosophical or the narrative side of it. But if you have seen some of my series, they're like telling a story, but that's not the main focus. More on the technique and the approach. If you would ask me what's my method, well, my method is painting. My approach is acrylic painting using the translucency technique. And currently, my subject matter has something to do with the material culture Manton de Manila. That's why you can see a lot of sea, waves, and body of water, and some textile like the Manton itself, or a woman in my series. Because the association that Manton de Manila was carried through the galleon trade during the Spanish colonial times in the Philippines. And well, I don't want to sound like an artsy-fartsy, but for my friends and followers who are new in my community, my artist statement has something to do with the material culture, with this that tackles or the discourse on the cultural identity of displacement, belonging, and continuity / discontinuity. of the cultural identity. As you know, or okay, let me get that back. Manton de Manila, if you're not familiar with it, is the shawl, or what we call the Manila shawl. Manton de Manila was popular during the 1700s or around 1800s, yeah, along that timeline in the Philippines, in Europe and in Mexico, but it was actually manufactured in China. It was the Philippine trade that promoted it in the Western civilization before. It's a misnomer, Manton de Manila, because it was not originally manufactured in the Philippines but in China. So yeah, the Philippines was just the port. So there's this discourse and there's this question: is it a Philippine material culture? What's the real identity? Or is it a Chinese culture? Or is it a Western culture, a European or a Mexican culture? So it's just a question that I pose, and it's a discourse, and I'm not trying to answer the problem. It's just a statement that I want to create, or a discussion. Yeah. So does a cultural identity end, or does it continue, or is it just being displaced, something like that? Sorry, I sounded like very academic, but yeah, that's my artist statement. Yeah. So if you have observed this work, the sea waves and the sea foam, the details of the sea foam that I'm trying to create, they look like threads. I try to create that illusion that they look like a thread, the thread of the Monton de Manila. Yeah, and as I've mentioned in the first part of this video, that this is a plank of wood, and the idea is a plank of wood that is being tossed into sea waves. So that depicts the belongingness, the idea of belongingness and displacement. Now, this is a cultural material of a wood, and yet it's being tossed in a sea wave, and it's like posing the question: where does it belong? Does it belong to a certain galleon or a certain ship, or does it belong to supposedly a part of a structure, a building, a house, or a furniture, something like that? But in this scenario, it's already being tossed in the sea wave. So yeah, so that's the idea of it, the concept. Yeah. Sige, tuloy ko na po ang pagpipinta. Marami na po akong sinabi. Ako hindi pa tapos yung ginagawa ko. Sabi ko nga po, bilib na bilib ako. Please excuse me, I have to speak in English. I am at all with the artists who can speak and do painting at the same time. Yeah. Well, one of the rules in acrylic painting, sabi ko hindi na ako magsasalita, magpipinta na lang ako, is that we paint from the lighter value to darker value, or lighter chrome to the darkest chrome, or lighter color to the darkest color, because an acrylic paint, it has a tendency to darken as it ages. And my video is stopping. Oops. Yeah. While in oil, the technique is usually artists or painters, they paint from the darkest color, and then they paint the lightest color last, or the lightest value last. Of course, it's always that we do the highlight at the end. It's the last part, the details, and then the highlights. But we can always break the rule. Like right now, this is an acrylic paint, but I'm doing the lighter part last, or the lighter value. I mentioned in my Instagram live that I enjoy, this is the best part of my painting process, on sea waves or any subject matter that has something to do with sea waves or water. I enjoy creating the sea foam. It's very therapeutic. It's therapeutic, especially while listening to a classical music. It's not that I'm romanticizing it, but really, try it. It sets the mood. If you're an artist, it sets the mood, you know that. But even when you do some other tasks, when you listen to classical music or to gospel songs, especially a slow gospel music, and especially when the gospel music is really anointed and scripturally filled, Christ-centered, anointed, it really suits your soul. I'm using a smaller brush now. The practical idea of it's tapping again. It's getting a little dark in my studio, so I don't paint when it's getting dusk, because as much as possible I want to utilize ambient light. I have poor eyesight and farsighted, so yeah. So after this part, I'll just show this part. I'm going to stop my recording.